So welcome everyone. Welcome to our monthly TED Talks and our event to Mooneeb Ali. Thank you everyone for joining us, and over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nali. I would just like to say thanks for giving me this opportunity to share my experience, my expertise, and obviously these kinds of platforms are very helpful and significantly beneficial for people around the globe to connect in a very positive and prolific manner. Now, coming very quickly to this talk, basically, some people in earlier times, let me take all of you back to maybe 20 years. So for some of the older people, the mobile use was quite intimidating. They were not very prone to use mobile phones. And later on, mobile phone was just a gadget. Let's be very honest. If we talk about the Asian countries, I'm talking about India, Pakistan, and China. So they cover more than 3/4 of the world's population. And the subcontinent in particular, here, mobile phones were using or being used or exploited as a tool for recreation, for fun, for enjoyment, for social media, and etc. So before I start off my presentation, I would just like this to share as an honor for my country and for myself, because it's very easy to just validate anybody's statement that I initiated this idea 10 years back in Pakistan, and I am till date one of the most cited author in Pakistan on mobile assisted language learning. So whatever I have learned from my experience, inshallah, I'll be sharing it with all of you in this presentation, and I hope I can add some value to all of you. Now, I will just repeat one important thing. Whatever you are all seeing here, due to some internet uploading issues, I have just tried to, eliminate all the other text, and I have just left with the contents, the headings of the presentation, rather than adding up the content. So whatever you will be seeing is just the headings. The content will be coming from my side. Wherever at the end of the presentation, as I finish up or a webinar, you are always, welcome to ask me any questions. And in this way, it will be a great pathway for me to learn from all of you. Thank you very much. So now let's move forward. I would just like to first explain that whenever you talk about mobile learning, there is a misconception that is with people around the globe, and that misconception is that people think mobile learning as a learning which is used by mobile phones or mobile devices. Whereas actually this is an umbrella term, and when you talk about mobile learning, so mobile learning is a learning which is being done with any handheld device which is mobile in nature, means which is portable, ubiquitous, and which can be helpful in the learning purposes anytime and anywhere. In other sense, you can say it's a kind of omnipresent. So this is what mobile learning is all about. So the most important thing in mobile learning, if we compare it with all the other conventional method, I don't want to go into the details. All the respected members and the listeners who are here in this group, they know better than me what is this all about. So I'll be much shorter in this regard. Honestly speaking, when you talk about mobile learning, it's totally unconventional. Because it is unconventional, so naturally the people who are adamant towards the traditional and orthodox way of learning, they tend to have problems psychologically with this type of learning. And whenever I say they have problem, so always this is a key wherever one has to go forward, that you need a mentor to apply any type of methodology in your life. So whenever you need a mentor, and if the mentor himself or herself is uncertain and dubious about the usage of anything, it's difficult for any methodology to be implemented significantly. So in this regard, till date, mobile learning has not been rigorously implemented in Pakistan because the basic reason is that people or the teacher, there is no proper regular system of implementing mobile learning despite the benefits and the advantages that is being accepted and acknowledged by people and the educators around the globe. So this was a bit of background that I wanted to share with all of you. Now, the other very important thing is why MAL? Mobile Assisted Language Learning has a short acronym we call as MAL. So why MAL? Now, few reasons for that one. I will just pick up or top down the or link up some 3-4 important things. The first important thing in this regard is, now I always say wherever I go and I talk in the conferences that present learning is an automated learning. Earlier learners were stagnant, not the learning. Now learners also don't want to be stagnant, they want to learn on the move. So there are two waves nowadays. One is learners moving, and the second is the movement of their mind along with the patterns of learning. So in this regard, the restrictions of class time, weather, temperature, sitting, ambience, infrastructure of the classroom has become less important. If all of you sitting here can recall, maybe 30-40 years back, I will be talking in general and then I'll give an example of my own country. So in general, the major focus was on the content. I talk about Pakistani culture. I still remember before my father or the people who were at the age of that time, they used to study with teachers or person where there was the infrastructure was not very high, but the content was significantly much better. The focus was on the teacher. The teacher has to deliver. And if you talk about any people who is alive till date, you can talk to him. He will tell you that his base of English language or as a student of other language was much better as compared to the later people. Then there was a radical change and a shift towards purpose-built institutes, colleges, universities, and classrooms, where teachers started adding up a lot of other things and less focus was there on the content. Now there were a lot of air conditions, there of other things. Now I want to tell one of the very important questions with the audience as well. Now what happened that the focus was for the betterment of the learners to provide them a better ambience. But unfortunately, what happens, it started diverting the attention of the learner or somehow what happens, these skills was not being passed on to the learners. That is why when in COVID, the world was struck with a wave of a kind of hibernation, online system of education started off and it got instant appreciation due to severe factors. I am using the word severe. I am not saying several. The factors were severe and several, both. Why? The first thing was it is economical. The transportation, the movement of the learners moving to the school, spending time in the school, it is all stopped. Now, obviously, it has some disadvantages also. According to Mark Zizek, Zizek has baseline this. He's a Czechoslovakian philosophical philosopher, and he talked about that there will be a time when human beings will be isolated with only the gadgets. Fine, but right now, what is happening is that if this is one of the positives, one can easily understand and one can easily show about that what happens, that learners tends to get across various aspects which were just making sure that they can elevate and improve their learning. Now, the second aspect in this regard was the variety. Now, there with mobile learning, there was a lot of variety that was added up. One example is the PowerPoint slides that you are viewing. Now, this is very basic. The other one was WhatsApp. the other was Viber, then the other was Google Meet. Then a lot of mobile applications started adding up. Some things which are using on the computers that were a part of mobile phone. Now the difference between mobile and computer was that computer is very difficult to be with you all the time as compared to the mobile phone, which is handheld and easily fit into your pocket, and it is like a computer and you can do it anything on it. The third important thing in this regard was the instant connectivity. With the computer, again, it's very difficult, but with the mobile phone, you can always connect with people. And a study said that in an hour, an individual views his mobile phone 20 to 21 times in an hour just to see if there is a message or not. So you can just understand from this regard the connection that has been developed between a mobile phone or an individual and an individual. So that's the chief reason you can view that why Mal has, significantly improved its vitality amongst people for a longer period of time. Now, if Mal has emerged, why not Cal? This is the next point. Because naturally, all of you could understand that with computers, even with the laptops, there are problems of at least having a place to sit on. It's okay that you can have the laptop in your lap, but still, if you compare with computer or a laptop with the mobile phone, you will constantly see the difference that mobile phone is very easy to handle and it's more secure, whether you are moving in the bus or like Dr. Nila was telling that, there was a presentation 10 years back and the presenter was giving the presentation while driving in the car. So it can only be possible sometimes, or it can be more significantly impactfully possible if somebody is giving that presentation from the mobile phone as compared to the cal. The second important thing is technology is changing. The only important thing which is not changing is the change itself. So if you can view this, you can able to understand an important thing that cal is becoming an outdated scenario because people are more prone to have mobile phones. Mobile phone is more cheaper as compared to cal. This is another thing. So these are some of the examples that why mal is being preferred and why cal is not being preferred. Earlier computer were preferred, people you tend to use computers, but now things have changed and mobile phones have overhauled the system altogether. Now, let's talk about some of the mal tools and the mal in the era of AI. Excuse me. Now, if we talk about mal tools, from any sticky notes, from web chat, let's talk about simple tool first because everybody can go about it. Because my opinion always is that any tool should be simple and effective if anybody is using it. It's very difficult, or it's very wrong rather, to share tools with people having big names, but they are very difficult for the usage. So let's talk about WhatsApp. Now, with Facebook Messenger, it is said that people are using Facebook for anything. And I believe that there is a time arrived when people will be coming out of the washroom and they'll say, I am coming out of the washroom and feeling relieved. The status sharing will be much quick. So we have reached that stage as well. So in this way, one aspect is the Facebook. With Facebook Messenger, you can just add people and you can have major things. You don't have to open Google Meet, chat, whatever. WhatsApp, all of you have made WhatsApp groups. You upload things, you discuss things, but WhatsApp can also be used for, there is a Meta AI option in WhatsApp now. So connect that Meta AI option, which is the latest scenario, with your students, and you can have the visual pictorial evidence of whatever that you are teaching.
For example, you are teaching noun to your students. So what you can say to that Meta AI in that particular group, being an admin, that please provide me the 10 pictorial examples of noun and use them in the sentence. It will automatically give you that opinion, and in this way the learners will feel a new pathway and a new wave of technology. The teacher will be explaining that element. The retention time of student will be increased because you always have the picture as well. And last but not the least, however and whatever, and through whatever mindset you have developed your lesson plan, at the end of the day, if you have the feedback session and assessment session, this learning can be improved significantly, inshallah. Now, uh, another important tool with this is the use of songs. Now, why songs? You can ask your students to find out conjunctions. You can ask your students to find out transitive and intransitive verb in songs. In any part of the world, song is something which is related with the relaxation, fun, and enjoyment. So ask your students to listen to your songs, or give them a song and ask them to listen to that. Then ask them to do it again and try to find out the number of nouns present in the song or number of conjunctions present in the song. So in this way, a new learning environment and technique can be employed. And believe you me, these modern technology learners, I always say this term for them, are more comprehensible towards this kind of techniques rather than our orthodox ways. Now, another point in this regard is, all of these uh, technical other gadgets that one can be used, like AI chat GPT or Gemini AI or any other AI tool. Now, before I talk about AI with connection of Mal, I would just like to tell you that this I have been claiming this for the last an year now, that earlier era was an era of output. Till now, the world was an era of output. We always believed in output. Now, with a very humble claim, I am sharing with all of you that this era will be era of input. This will not be an era of output, because the most precise input, the most accurate input will give you the correct answer. To defend my claim, I would just like to give you an example that come later on to my discussion, but earlier I was not claiming it. This year, in the middle of the year, UK has opened up the first ever prompt engineer job in the country. Now, what is that prompt engineer? Somebody who can put in right and accurate instructions to chat GPT to get the maximum output. Exactly like a mechanic who knows to get maximum output from a car, he knows from which input he has to go along. Now, AI can be very beneficial for the learners and the teachers as well. Firstly, I'll talk about teachers. If you'll talk about teachers, AI is very beneficial to understand the level of assessment. Everybody in the world is talking about generative AI, whereas I am focusing, and I've just sent some of the papers for publications which are focusing on AI into assessment. Whenever AI will assess something, obviously you have to develop that application according to the rubric which you are following. But in this way, the data will be more reliable, more valid, and more accurate, and it will improve the trust of the learners. Secondly, human error will become less. Thirdly, learners can themselves go for that assessment. Now, okay, you can say, oops, it can nullify the role of the teacher. Not at all. It cannot nullify, because there is a reason to that. Feedback will always be more effective when it is coming from the teacher, no matter whatever type of artificial intelligence tool you have presented in the market. Teacher knows which area can be improved how. AI will be giving you a generic scenario, whereas teacher will be giving you a personalized domain, which is the most important hallmark of MAL, because MAL offers personalized learning experience, where every learn according to his or her own taste. Come on, come on, come on. So I hope this is one of the important things, and this is something which I wanted to share with all of you, that that's how we go along. If now, one important thing I would also like to add up in this regard is that one student learning with AI or mobile assisted language learning can improve much better as compared to the conventional mode of learning, because it sounds ridiculous, but in eastern part of the world, Southeast Asia and other, there are institutes that will be surprised for the participants that they are not allowed to use mobile phones for learning in the classroom. So they have to go for, you know, their own domains or whatever else they want to do. So they always want it for the conventional mode of learning. So my suggestion and my humble opinion to all of you will be that please add up mobile learning, because later on, as mobiles are more faster in their processor, more smart in their efficiency, more cheaper, more easier to handle, and more instant and swift, so they are the best applicable tool to implement English language learning, either through songs, either through text, either through artificial intelligence, or WhatsApp, Viber, or even Zoom. Recently, I published a paper in Taylor and Francis' book, which talked about the boom of Zoom, and in that paper, I claimed that India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, all of them in post-COVID situation, they, the boom of Zoom, the Zoom was on the boom because Zoom made some customized setting for the teachers and learnings for learning. If, for example, if there was 40 minutes session, somewhere or the other there are possibilities and conditions where that session can be extended. So for learners it became very easy. In our times, I still remember we used to pray, if we don't want to go to the school, we wish that it could rain and it should rain, which never happened actually. But nowadays things have gone different. So learning has become faster, it has shifted to the next gear, so the tools should be there to satiate the needs of the learners. And in this regard, amongst many other tools, mobile learning is one of the most significant and most prolific one. This was all from my side. If there is any question, anything you want to ask me, please go ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Are there any questions or comments? We've got a bit of time here for you to ask. You can ask in the chat if that's okay with you. I'm wondering about, we think that mobile phones are available everywhere, and they are in most places around the globe, and it's getting better and better. But many schools in the West, not the East, but the West, in North America, do not allow students to use their mobile phones in the classroom. In fact, in some schools, they have to put them away before the class begins. This is for both the K-12 as well as university. How would you explain that? Since it's a great tool, it's fast, everything you mentioned, I totally agree with. So why would, modern, so-called modern educational systems with all the money needed do this? Why would they ban smartphones in the classroom?
Dr. Nele, actually, the issue is insecurity and ignorance.
Ignorance.
When
They don't think they're ignorant. Go tell them that they're
no, no,
ignorant.
no, you're very right. But I would like to tell you why I'm saying this. They are ignorant. It is said that ignorance is a blessing. In this case, they feel that we are ignorant and they are blessed. So the the scenario is that basically they believe in orthodox way of learning, so they take mobile phone more as a distraction rather than a attraction. So they believe that while having phone in the class, the learner will be offloaded from the studies. They will be sending messages while sitting in the classroom. While in the classroom, they will be more outside the classroom. Now, with this, I'm sorry, the problem is whenever a policy is implemented, in whichever part of the world it is implemented, it has to be implemented while a board should pass it or recommend that. Now, that board must be consist of or must be comprised of the psychologist, the psychiatrist, the educator, and the teacher as well. Now, why teacher? Because the teacher is the one who has the first hand experience with the students. Why psychologist and psychiatrist? Because the psychologist says that your attention time for learning is 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, you naturally divert from it. So the problem is the policymakers believe that while having a mobile phone in the class is more a trouble, a havoc, rather than an advantage or a benefit. So they stop you asking people to use mobile phone in the class. Secondly, those institutes which allow mobile phone to enter, even they don't use mobile phones. They will ask the students, focus on the smart board, or they have their white multimedia or whatever, and they'll try to have that kind of learning. Now my question is very simple. For example, I'll give you a case scenario. For example, as a teacher, you have a classroom where you are sitting, and every student has a mobile phone in the classroom. And for example, because the case is different now, so you are sitting on a computer in WhatsApp so that you can get everybody's message, and you ask a question in the classroom and you give an activity for 10 minutes, and you ask your students that everybody with his name will send me a WhatsApp message, and I will check it straight away to reply to my question or query. Now, don't you think this activity will be a bit different? I'm just giving you a very simple example. Will be a different from that conventional paper pencil based activity, because the world top testing service IELTS has started doing this now. It has launched computer based IELTS owing to the acceptance of the modernity of technology. So one way or the other, now this is the basic thing, and I deliberately use this one. There are many other examples where learners can be engaged through their mobile phones, and I can foresee where writing will be gradually diminishing, and is diminishing, and will be gradually going the downside, and typing will be on the higher side. So if you will not go with the wave of change, I'm not saying that I prefer writing and I don't prefer writing. It's not about me. I'm just an individual. The holistic wave is towards the other side, and if you have to go with the wave, try to add some value and betterment rather than close your eyes and negating its existence.
The reason they, in the K-12, thinking about the younger learners, the reason that they prohibit smartphones in the classroom is because they think that young learners need less screen time. They think that screen time is not a good thing, and it should be controlled in the classroom. They should be doing face-to-face activities with other children rather than with a machine. That's the idea behind it. With older students, it's another story.
Yes, you're right. Now, if I can go along, there is a question in the chat from Mr. Azhar. If you allow me, Dr.
Yes.
Nalik, may I reply to that?
Yes, of course.
It's a very important question that if we are going to use AI for assessment and students are getting input from the AI, then how can we gauge their learning? Now, there are two dimensions for that. The AI reply has some benchmarks or has some typical discourse markers which can be easily detected. Now, for checking the originality, nobody can stop anyone from taking the inspiration. For example, if we have to write an essay, I am allowed to consult as many books as possible. So the consultation with the AI cannot be stopped. Where we have to manage things is that we should stop the learners, and we have when we do it in our classroom, we do it. How we can do it? We ask students to close every window except the reply window, because we have online tests in Aramco. So what we do, we stop using AI in the assessment, whereas if they are sitting in the classroom and they want to get assistance from it, we can go about. The second thing is, Azhar, that using AI for assessment is on the part of the the teachers. There must be some specific tools, and this has not been happened till date around the globe in any university. Maybe there is a one holistic test system which is known as PTE, which is using some of it, not holistic completely. Is that AI is being used for assessment in a way that the rubric that is being designed by you, your university, or anyone is uploaded, and the reply what you have got, you will upload that reply into that AI software which you have made or you have got. I'm not talking about ChatGPT in this regard because it's a generic. I'm talking about specific AI. So you will get the score instantly in 0.01 nanosecond. Now, how accurate will be that? You know much better than me, because it is very important. Now, the second question, what you talked about, yes, smart answers are the modern day problem. That is why, Azhar, I told that now people are saying the value of teachers will be decreased and there will be no use of teachers. My claim is the value of teachers will be doubled, because there will be bulk of information, and teachers can tell the accuracy, the validity, and the brilliance of any information. In our times, there was no information. Now it's a buffet of information. You have to pick up which is right for the digestion or not. So the dimension is a bit different. Any other question? Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for this, bringing up mobile learning as a very valuable way of learning. I totally agree with you, which is why I use mobile smartphones in my classes. And I'm wondering about others. How many are using them in the classroom? I've also used them with young learners in the classroom because I got special permission. So, I think that you're right about policies. It depends on the teacher. And if the teacher explains how smartphones can be used, they will accept the teacher's way of teaching in most cases. So thank you very, very much. I appreciate your coming to our TED Talks, a monthly TED Talks, and hope to see everyone on December 8th for our next session. So thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the time. God bless you. Take care.